Crown Prince of Crime, the Jester of Genocide, the King of Chaos, the Earl of Incels. Does a movie inspired by me really have the power to create chaos? Or is the chaos already there, and I'm just your excuse to let it out?
Is it just me? Or are the real clowns the check marks on Twitter? Alright, it doesn't look as good as I thought it would. Yeah, that looks so much freaking better. Since the Joker movie was announced, there's been a lot of talk about it. I mean, almost too much talk. At the time of the announcement, it was mostly about the fact that, well, there's already Jared Leto as the Joker in the DC universe, so who is Joaquin Phoenix gonna be? Another Joker? Or even better, should the Joker even have an origin story? The Joker lives in anonymity. It's one of his greatest weapons. The fact that no one knows anything about his history except for what he's done as the Joker. There's a pretty well-known line from the Joker, as a matter of fact, in one of the comics and I believe one of the animated films, voiced by Mark Hamill. It goes a little something like this.
Sometimes I remember it one way, sometimes another. If I'm going to have a past, I prefer it to be multiple choice.
I think Heath Ledger's Joker actually references this in The Dark Knight when he gives two different stories, almost a third story, for how he got his scars.
You know how I got these scars?
But that's just a game theory. I'm not going to play it. Anyway, anonymity is essentially a weapon to the Joker, or armor, whichever way you want to look at it. Now, this was the conversation around the time the movie was announced, because it felt like the movie wasn't necessary and didn't really make sense with the fact that there's an actual DC universe going on. Now, fast forward a bit to, let's just say today. The movie's out. It's been out for about 2 weeks or so now, and the results are in. The movie's dark, it's a little bit disturbing, and it's great. There's a bit of debate on exactly what's great, but most people seem to agree that the movie's fantastic. It even broke the opening weekend sales record for October. Now, what we're going to talk about, if you are somehow completely unaware, is all of the media firestorm that took place around the Joker film and why it's amazing that it actually managed to hit that point. Even though so many people loved this movie, so many people thought it was fantastic and would even call it a great movie, but a horror movie. Now, despite how many people are loving this movie, the critics couldn't resist slamming it. There were critics practically begging to please pull the movie from theaters before someone gets hurt. The level of fear-mongering that happened over this movie is insane. Let's see, so where should we begin? Let's start with the press screenings that happened about 2 weeks before the movie's release, as per the usual, so that all the critics that are so well-educated can tell us exactly how to feel about the movie before it comes out. There's a more audacious film lurking in Joker, yet there's no denying how the discourse that'll soak up the airwaves is exactly the type of conversation the iconic villain would want us to have, whether we like it or not. The joke's on us. This reviewer seemed to even understand the message of the film and the character, and still gave it a negative review, essentially because some people might take the wrong message from it. It's really funny how you can selectively dislike a movie because you know what's going to happen outside the movie. The movie isn't badly made or even ugly to look at, but there's a mean, smug little heart at the center of it that at best irresponsibly frames a familiar male power fantasy as a revolutionary act. He's a supervillain. That's how their story arc goes, until they get beaten by the good guy. I guess you've never seen any horror movies either. This movie about a supervillain's descent into madness has an evil, dark little core. It's a naughty core. In Joker, there's no finesse, no nuance between the delusion of one narcissist and the hypnosis of an infected society ready to burn itself to ground in the name of power. No nuance whatsoever, even in the fact that it's a schizophrenic, that the entire movie you see through their eyes and you see their delusions of grandeur and all the other crazy stuff that they see, whether it's happening or not. There's no nuance whatsoever to that. There's no levels at all to any of it. His perspective is broken. He's detached from reality, and the entire movie takes place through his eyes. I mean, I know there may not be any merit whatsoever to it, but there's people that are theorizing almost the entire movie is actually his delusions of grandeur, and he's been locked in Arkham the entire film. Many critics right out of the gate slammed the movie for the potential it has to incite incels to commit acts of violence, especially in the theaters. Many critics also acted as if this movie was only really for the incel audience and wouldn't nor should it interest anyone else. Yep, the comic book supervillain is being canceled because of the social climate now, rather than anything that happens in the movie directly. So I guess we just end all combat sports now too, right? I mean, we don't want unstable people giving arm bars to random people or throwing haymakers in the streets. That just wouldn't be civilized. And all because they saw it on TV. See, that's my biggest issue with a lot of this, was that the criticism was more of the people that might watch the movie than the movie itself. Oh no, unstable people might go see this movie. Let's not let the movie exist. It's the same twisted argument that every 2 years or so comes up against video games. Even though there's no evidence to back it up, for video games, movies, or music, that they inspire violence in people? Look at me, I went to school for film theory and now I've got a verified check mark. I've never directed or written or starred in anything, but I can criticize like the best of them. I can make stuff up all day long about a movie that I don't like. This movie is going to cause incels to kill people because it will. If an incel with mental health issues watches this movie, they're gonna be triggered like a Russian sleeper listening to the wrong song on their birthday. Trust me, I know mental health. I went to film school. You might also know my colleague, the Rewired Soul. Oh wait, the YouTube mental health professional himself is calling these panic-baiting articles. Wait, I'm on the same side as Chris in something? Breaking news, the Rewired Soul has a good take. This is a landmark achievement for Chris. Congratulations, Chris. You're a big boy.
Well, that's progress.
Nah, that's somebody else entirely. Now, it blows my mind that people were taking these remarks so serious without any mental health professionals or anything backing it up. I haven't seen any, not one, not a single one. Or at least, I didn't see a single article or review that quoted a single mental health professional or expert of any kind. It was just a hot take. That's all it was. It was these reviewers' hot takes, and it started a paranoia. It even got to the point that what seems to be online trolls making jokes seemed to have triggered the military and police force to be on high alert. There are no articles I found showing any threatening posts or anything that would have caused this, but supposedly there was threats made.
FBI first uncovered the possible threats online from alleged extremists, sparking new fears after that 2012 theater massacre at the screening of another Batman-themed movie.
Oh, don't you talk about Colorado. That's later in the video.
Critics feared this depiction could be closer to a real-life tragedy in the franchise, when a gunman opened fire, killing 12 people during a screening of The Dark Knight Rises in Aurora, Colorado in 2012.
Oh, they did it. All right, well, we're going to come back to that later, but for now, let's get to this next point they make.
Making a lot of parents, I think, nervous about letting their kids go see this movie, given what it could inspire.
Remarkable to even have to make a statement like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's got a point. You really shouldn't need a reminder or an alert to let you know rated R films aren't for children. The fact that this story even got run on a national network is insane. Have you ever seen an alert to let you know not to take your child to see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Saw, Halloween, Friday the 13th? No, because only an idiot would think, hey, it's a rated R film, why not just take my kid and hope for the best? And by the way, these people that are writing these articles are in the industry. This is a television station, reporters for entertainment media. They know all this. And from what I read in the articles, there was no actual target that was made. It was general, like, oh, I'm gonna go shoot up my local theater now, see you guys. Which leads me to believe that it was just trolls online. I mean, let's be real, when does CNN or any other of these mainstream media companies refrain from showing the name of somebody who shot up a place or showing their face or whatever? Like, they don't have any shame. They'll show you whatever they can, especially if it makes their argument more valid. So where's the messages? Where's the threatening messages that you guys had? Either way, my point is it started with the critics, but it was just a fear of mentally ill people. Where did these failed film students get the credibility in mental health to basically try and cancel the movie for it? A big name company publishes the review, and the company and writers' followings take their hot takes as fact, leading to the chaotic clown paranoia. Not gonna lie, I'm calling it right now. There's gonna be warnings pretty soon about incels dressing up as clowns for Halloween. I'm warning you now. Trick or treat. Okay. Either that or the one clown that assaults somebody to steal their candy is going to be used as an example of how the Joker influenced crime. You might think it sounds ridiculous, but it's no more ridiculous than what's actually happened. I mean, with every day that passes, more articles are coming out trying to scare more and more people from the scary internet virgins that are coming out of their basements. In Colorado, at a showing of The Dark Knight Rises in 2012, a movie about Bane, Batman, and Talia al Ghul, there was a shooting done by a man in technical gear, a gas mask, dyed red hair, and not a single reference to the Joker. So obviously it was inspired by the Joker, right? I'm kidding. That's a rumor that for some reason just won't die. For some reason, there's always been this rumor out there that the guy was dressed as and made references to the Joker. But it never happened. The Joker wasn't even in that movie. I'm somehow not surprised and yet still disappointed that Ethan from H3 remembers the rumor and not reality.
And families of the 2012 movie theater shooting in Aurora where the guy like dressed up as Joker. Fucking lunatic.
He did?
Yeah, dude.
No, he wasn't actually dressed up as the Joker.
Well, he dyed his hair. It wasn't during a Batman screening, and he like threw. It was nuts.
So many people believed that the shooting was inspired by the Joker, even though the Joker wasn't in the movie. The movie that the Joker was in, which is The Dark Knight, which came out years prior, didn't feature anything like what the guy did in the theater, and the guy didn't dress or reference anything having to do with the Joker. So how are they connected? Because Joker's in a Batman movie and the guy shut up a theater when there's a Batman movie? Oh no. I mean, since then, there's not only been 2 movies that featured Batman, but there's also been another movie featuring the Joker, Suicide Squad. Jared Leto's Joker was in so much of the advertising for those movies, everyone thought he was going to play a major part, and he ended up being just this minor character that shows up once or twice. Jared Leto was even shocked to see how little of the movie he was in because of how much shooting he did. The Joker was used to promote and clickbait the movie because of his popularity and people's interest in the Joker. He's an interesting character. The Joker is a complex yet also simple character that lives off chaos. From my experience watching movies and such with the Joker in it, it seems like a lot of his focus is just in driving people mad. In movies, cartoons, and comics, Joker has referenced the idea that all it takes is one bad day.
I've demonstrated there's no difference between me and everyone else. All it takes is one bad day.
I mean, if you watch Batman the Animated Series, you could argue that it seems like maybe that's his entire goal through that entire series. My favorite example of it is the scene from The Dark Knight.
See, madness, as you know, is like gravity. All it takes is a little push.
Here's where we're at. It's been weeks since the release of the movie, and nothing major has happened at any theater. But it hasn't stopped the media sites from talking about it. They almost seem annoyed by its success and lack of issues. To put it simply, critics seem to have started this whole paranoia. There wasn't much of any concern before the critics started talking after the screenings. And even then, most of which I saw also complained about the fact that the Joker was being played by a white guy, as if a black or Hispanic man maybe may have been more suitable. Even though you can pretty much guarantee that if they did, there would just be articles about how they made a movie about a crazed minority going on a mass killing spree and reinforcing racism and paranoia about minorities. There was quite literally no winning with these critics. They were going to find a reason to hate this no matter what. Here is quite possibly the most ridiculous article I saw the entire time I was researching this. 2 men arrested at Joker movie for smoking and causing a disturbance. This is comicbook.com. This is an actual place. Like, if you go and it's legitimate articles. This is not a satire article. You know what happened? The 2 men were smoking in the theater and they were blowing smoke at people and they were kicked out of the theater. That was it. They wrote an article about that. But it is even worse. Let's read a little. The responding officers arrested the 2 men without incident, and charges are pending on the case. Chicago was just one of the several major cities who promised to beef up security at theaters showing Joker, given the film's intense violence and portrayal of mental health. Critiques were put against the film because of its triggering content, and Joker quickly brought up the memories of July 2012's mass shooting that took place during a screening of The Dark Knight Rises, where 12 people were murdered. This latest Joker incident marks one of several to take place during the weekend showings of the film. According to other reports, panic ensued at a screening of the film when a man walked into the theater and surveyed the crowd. The audience voluntarily evacuated after the incident, and police have since arrested the suspect in the case. Other incidents took place in New York after a man began laughing hysterically at Joker's various murders. So 2 guys were arrested for smoking and causing a little bit of a ruckus in a theater. One guy was arrested for theater hopping, and another guy, they don't even say what happened to him. He laughed in the theater. Oh no, how dare he? Oh no, don't hurt me, I'm sorry, I laughed at the movie. So freaking stupid. But that's essentially all you saw coming out of mainstream media and Twitter checkmarks, except for Dolan Dark and myself. One thing that anyone with a little bit of online experience knows is you give trolls a little bit of bait and they will take it and run with it. The real danger to me here was the mainstream media constantly insulting the unstable people they were supposedly afraid of. I mean, if you're really so worried about this group of people doing something, why would you write an article specifically laying out exactly what you're afraid of them doing? Like almost giving them a roadmap for exactly what to do by continuously referencing what the other guy did years ago? You're worried about them shooting up a theater full of incels? I mean, a lot of these articles make it sound like the movie was basically written for incels. So if that's the case, and incels are a community, why would the incels turn around and shoot the other incels in the theater? That doesn't make sense to me. And on top of that, if the movie makes them heroes for killing the people that did them wrong, why would they just start unloading on random people in the theater when the movie is all about taking revenge on people that have wronged you in your own eyes? Wouldn't you be concerned about them going home and then killing people other places? Did you think they brought like a trunk full of weapons in case they felt like just going on a shooting spree during the movie? Well, it's about halfway through the movie. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, pick up a couple guns. I'll be right back. You know, just in case they decided to pop off a few rounds during the middle of the film. Spoiler alert, spoiler, I'm gonna spoil something right now for you. He kills like 6 people in the movie. 6, 7 people in the movie, something like that. All of them wronged him. And he knew all of them. It wasn't like any of them were just a random person. So how and why do you see incels going all the way home, gathering weapons and coming back to the theater to commit a shooting against people they don't care about, specifically in the movie theater? Especially when nothing of the sort happens in the movie. There's a scene of violence. It does take place in a theater, but it's nothing like what they're talking about at all. It just doesn't make any logical sense to me whatsoever. But you know what does sound logical to me? Thanking my patrons. Thank you so much, Pantsless Gamers and Hobo Viking, for supporting me on Patreon. I'm gonna hopefully have some behind-the-scenes content coming out on there soon from different videos I'm working on. That'll be a little bit fun. Instead of just outtakes, some like behind-the-scenes content, like doing the makeup and stuff. Hopefully. Well, look at that. I've got to change the number. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what you thought, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching.